Revenge films.
My name is Harry. I'm a 32-year-old web designer who works from home. My wife, Yulia, is a hairstylist who works hard every day, so I handle the housework and childcare since I'm at home. Our son, Sean, is currently 5 years old and goes to preschool every day full of energy. My wife loves to praise my cooking and often shares dinner photos on social media. Whenever her mom friends saw them and said things like, "You have such a wonderful husband," she'd always happily report it to me. One day, I went to a parent observation day at preschool in place of my busy wife. Then, a mom friend suddenly approached me. Her name was Nancy, and she wasn't particularly close with my wife. Yet she came up to me in an overly familiar way and said,
"You've been working so hard on cooking every day."
Apparently, she'd been checking out my wife's social media. Then she asked,
"So what do you do for work?"
I didn't think it was a good idea to talk too freely with someone I barely knew, so I gave her a vague answer. Nancy then said,
"I see. Oh, that reaction means you're unemployed, right?"
The moment she said that, I couldn't help but blurt out, "What?" But she continued,
"If you weren't unemployed, you couldn't cook every single day like that, could you? What kind of man lets his wife work and support him?"
And she looked down on me with contempt. Just then, my son spotted me and yelled, "Daddy!" He came running over, so I didn't have a chance to defend myself. After that, Nancy started spreading rumors to the other moms that I was unemployed. I have no idea what grudge she had against me, but she seemed determined to ridicule me. When I got home and told my wife about it, she said,
"I can't believe it. That's terrible."
She was furious. She immediately removed Nancy from her social media followers and blocked her from seeing her posts. Apparently noticing this, Nancy started harassing us even more severely. The next day when my son came home from preschool, he said to me, "I'm home, unemployed person!" When I asked where he learned that word, he told me all the kids at preschool were saying it. I immediately knew it was Nancy's doing, so I warned my son. Don't use words like that, okay? Several days later, during dinner, my wife's phone rang. The caller was one of her close mom friends. The mom friend sounded panicked and said,
"This is urgent. Check Nancy's social media now."
Following her advice, my wife opened Nancy's social media and found posts bad-mouthing both of us. Although names weren't mentioned, we could immediately tell from the initials and content that it was about us. The post said things like,
"Poor wife supporting her unemployed husband. The cooking husband is actually unemployed. Loser, deadbeat."
She'd even posted photos of our house. I thought this had gone too far, so I got Nancy's number from the mom friend and called to warn her directly. "Delete those posts right now!" When I said that, Nancy replied,
"Why? I didn't use your name, so it's fine."
She showed no remorse whatsoever. "Posting photos of our house is malicious," I said angrily, but she retorted,
"It's your fault for living in such a big house while being unemployed and putting on airs. If you don't like it, just move."
I was furious, so I said, "If you keep this up, I'll hire a lawyer and take legal action." But Nancy just laughed and said,
"I know you have no money since you're unemployed, but you can't afford a lawyer. You're just bluffing."
She laughed and hung up. After discussing it with my wife, we decided that if something happened again, we'd really consult a lawyer. Several days later, we discovered that Nancy had posted more insults about our family on social media. When we looked, we found that this time she'd secretly taken photos of our son and posted them without permission. And she'd posted them with the caption,
"Unemployed person's kid. Poor people."
Posts that insulted even my son were absolutely unforgivable. I decided to go to Nancy's house and give her one final warning. When I rang the doorbell, Nancy came out and said in a hushed voice,
"Don't just show up here. My husband's home."
Realizing she didn't want her husband to find out, I deliberately spoke loudly and said, "Delete those posts!" Then Nancy replied,
"I don't know what you're talking about. Go home."
And she forcibly closed the front door. At that moment, I decided to pursue Nancy to the fullest extent. I immediately consulted a lawyer who told me that what Nancy had done constituted defamation and violation of privacy rights. And if she wouldn't stop even after being warned, I could demand compensation. So I hired the lawyer to demand compensation from Nancy. Several days later, during dinner, the doorbell rang. When I answered, Nancy was there. As soon as she saw my face, she said,
"You really hired a lawyer? Withdraw the lawsuit right now. I'm not paying any compensation."
She was furious. Then she continued,
"I already deleted the photos. Isn't that enough?"
So I said, "It's too late. Do you realize how many days our son's photos were exposed on social media?" Then Nancy threatened us, saying,
"I don't care about that. Withdraw the lawsuit now, or I'll tell even more moms that you're unemployed."
I replied, "Are you threatening me? If you come to our house uninvited again, I'll call the police." And I forcibly sent Nancy away. Even after some time had passed since demanding compensation, Nancy kept ignoring it and showed no intention of paying. So, at the lawyer's suggestion, we sent a demand letter to her home. Soon after, Nancy contacted us. In an unusually weak tone, very different from usual, she said,
"I'll come by this evening."
She hung up after saying just that. That evening, the doorbell rang, and when I answered, Nancy and her husband were there. Nancy looked completely dejected, looking down the whole time, refusing to meet my eyes. Her husband bowed his head and said, "My wife did something inexcusable. I'm truly sorry." Nancy also weakly apologized.
"I'm sorry."
Apparently, her husband had found the demand letter and discovered what Nancy had done and said, "I'm divorcing her, so do whatever you want with her. I'll make sure she pays every penny of the compensation herself." He apologized repeatedly. When I asked why she did such things, Nancy said through tears,
"My husband always comes home late, so I resented Yulia for bragging on social media about her husband's cooking."
That was no excuse for posting such malicious content repeatedly, so I coldly said, "Make sure you reflect on what you've done." After that, Nancy was kicked out by her husband and became a single mother. Her husband temporarily covered the compensation, but said he'd definitely make her work and pay it back herself. After the divorce, Nancy desperately searched for work but couldn't find anything, and eventually became unable to care for her child. In the end, her child's custody went to her husband, and Nancy ended up living a lonely life. She received no child support from the husband she'd been counting on, and Nancy is currently sleeping at internet cafes with what little money she has left. It's only a matter of time before her money runs out. Apparently, Nancy contacted several mom friends asking to borrow money, but they all refused and blocked her on text message apps. By the way, after becoming a single father, Nancy's husband changed jobs and started working from home. Now he's become close enough with us to visit our house, so I can teach him how to cook. I learned later that he had been fed up with Nancy's jealous personality and had been considering divorce for a long time. As for me, thanks to my wife's explanations, people around us finally understood that I'm not unemployed, which was a relief. The moms who heard the story said things like, "That must have been so difficult," and encouraged both me and my wife. My wife says she wants to deepen her bonds with the other moms so we never have to go through something like that again. Now that the toxic mom friend is gone, my wife is enthusiastically continuing to post my cooking on social media. As for me, I'll continue doing what I've always done, cooking delicious meals for my family and cherishing the days we can gather around the table with smiles.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.